You're getting in touch with your customer, what your customer wants and what they need, what they'll pay for it, and how they want it delivered, what color they want it to be, what size they want it to be, how much they want it to be, what they want it to do, what they don't want it to do, and all of these things that are important in developing a product or service that people will indeed buy.
This is the How to Quit Working Show. Jeff Steinman believes entrepreneurship is the only true path to freedom. That's why he created the How to Quit Working Show, where you'll hear stories, insights, and inspiration from lifestyle fanatics who left their soul-sucking 9-to-5 job forever. Now, here's your host, author, entrepreneur, and ultimate lifestyle fanatic, Jeff Steinman.
Hello and welcome to the How to Quit Working Show. We got a great show today. We're going to be talking about this idea of risk in business. Everybody's like, I want to start a business, but I know it's risky, so how am I going to deal with the risk? I can't afford to lose a bunch of money. I can't afford to waste a bunch of time, whatever it is. We're going to talk about how to deal with that and some really specific tactics that you can use to manage the risk in your business and really approach risk in a different way and look at it as a positive thing instead of a negative thing. Before we jump into that though, I got to remind you that we've got the amazing How to Quit Working Circle. That's where people like you go if they want to be surrounded by a community of people and they want to get some free training and they want to get some special offers. Those people go over to howtoquitworking.com/circle and enter their information to become a member of the How to Quit Working Circle so you can get right into the Facebook group and interact with, chat with, and maybe even do business with other people who are in the exact same situation as you. Great group of people. They just want to help you. So head on over to howtoquitworking.com/circle and jump into the circle. Now let's get into our topic for today because it's a really important one. And we hear this all the time and it's like, you look at the news or you read some articles and you hear these statistics about some crazy percent. I don't even quote the stats anymore because they change all the time and it doesn't really matter, but it's somewhere upwards of 50 businesses, probably 50 new businesses, 50% of new businesses fail in the first 5 years, or there's even more dramatic statistics out there. So you look at that and you think, okay, well, how then am I going to know that I'm going to be successful? Because looks like statistically I have a pretty poor chance of being successful. Well, I want to start by being really clear about the idea of risk in business. And I want to start by really putting it out there very clearly that risk is an absolutely necessary component of business. You have to take risk. There is no way around it. I'm going to talk about some ways to deal with it, but there's no way around it. There's no way to avoid risk completely in business, period. Because business really, if you actually look at the dictionary definition of entrepreneurship, I'm going to paraphrase it and it won't be exactly right, but it's something about someone who takes a risk in order to create value that creates potentially a larger reward. Risk is necessary. When you look out at all of the successful businesses around you, and that's just walk down a commercial strip or drive through a commercial area near your house, and you'll see that there are lots and lots of successful businesses. And the reason that those businesses are there are because somebody said, you know what, I'm going to take a risk and I'm going to see if this thing works. And in those cases it worked, in other cases it probably didn't work. But everything that you see around you is the result of some sort of risk. When you look at the electronic devices that are in your house that you're using right now, well, somebody said, even if you're just using a regular PC, somebody back in the early 80s said, maybe we could create this thing that people could put in their house and use it to do computing, right? Somebody took that risk. They didn't know if it would work because it was something new and different. But all around you, you see the results of risk. Every single product or service in your room. As I look around this room and I look at these lights and this camera and the tripod and this microphone and this chair and these floors and this light fixture up here, all of these things are products that are the result of somebody saying, you know what, I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to go out and try it. So the value in business, the reason people give you money in business is because you have successfully taken a risk. You have successfully gone through that process of, I don't know if anybody wants this thing or not, but I'm going to go find out. And when the answer is yes, then you get to a successful business. Now, I want to talk about how do you mitigate that? Because I know you're thinking, okay, great, I've got a job right now, I want to quit the job, but I've got bills to pay. I need to make sure that there's going to be money coming in to pay for the things that I have to buy on a regular basis. So let's talk a little bit about that. The first thing that I want to say on that topic is that risk comes down to sort of two things. Risk comes down to putting resources into something and with the hope that something bigger comes out of it, right? So if you look at when you start a business, you put two main things in, and that's money and time. Money and time are the two major things that you put into a business. The time is just the time. You understand that. You know what that is. That's 2 hours a day that you don't get to do something else. Or if you look at it from a more positive standpoint, that's 2 hours a day that you get to work on your business. But that's a whole nother show. So you can put time in, and then you can also put money in. And money is a much more flexible option because money can purchase other people's time. Money can purchase equipment. It can purchase buildings, cars, trucks, vans, delivery vehicles, products. It can purchase expertise from other people. There's all kinds of things that you can purchase with money. So begin by looking at it through the lens of the two things that you can put in are time and money. The two things that you have to put in are time and money. Now, generally speaking, the less money you put in, the more time you put in. The less time you put in, the more money you put in, and so forth. So they sort of balance each other out a little bit. Now, one of the great things about starting a business for yourself is you get to decide what resource you're going to put in there to then see if something better comes out the other side. One of the things that I think that there's a couple different ways that we could go with this, because in many ways, in kind of this online world, there's a lot of hype that has been created, probably unintentionally, from a lot of the online marketing gurus and so on. And yes, I'm one of them, but I try not to do that very much. I try to be much more realistic and practical. But I think a lot of that hype is this idea that you can create a business with practically no money and practically no time. And I don't think anybody ever means to create that perception, but that is a perception that reaches a lot of people's heads. And because I hear from people all the time who are like, I've been working on this business 2 hours a week for a month and I haven't made anything yet. And that's to be expected. 2 hours a week for a month, or even 2 hours a week for 3 or 6 months, probably won't be very fruitful. You have to put those resources in. And as I said, you get to decide what resources you're putting in, time or money. Now, most of the folks who listen to this show are not looking to invest a couple $100,000 or even a couple $1 million into a business. They're more looking to get something going kind of on the side and get it tested out and proven out so that they can then quit their job confidently. So that's kind of the path that we're going to focus on. We're not going to talk about the stuff like you see on Shark Tank, where you might get somebody to invest tens or hundreds or millions of dollars into a business and then go out and build it that way. That's not really what we're talking about, and most of the folks listening to this show really aren't looking to do that. So let's put that kind of off to the side and let's focus on a different way to build a business, and that is that kind of whole idea of building it out on the side, proving it out on the side, so that by the time you quit your job and by the time you give up that magical paycheck that drops into your checking account every 2 weeks, you have something that you've proven and that you know people want and that you know people are going to want to pay for. So again, let's go back to that idea of the two things that you can put into a business to make it successful are money and time. Most of the folks who listen to this show are limited in both money and time. Like, as I said, most folks don't have millions or tens of thousands to invest in a business, and most folks listening here don't also have tons and tons of time to invest in a business, but you can still make progress. Now, again, I'm not telling you that you can do it with a small amount of effort or that it's going to be quick or that it's going to be easy, but what I do want to talk about is how can you make that progress slowly on the side. And since this show is about risk, mitigating that risk and mitigating, as we say in the corporate world, that's where you kind of make the risk less. For folks who aren't familiar with that corporate term that just slipped out of my mouth there, I sometimes forget that I'm not in corporate anymore. We don't have to use words like mitigating and synergy. But anyway, so building that business out on the side as you're still working, the main resource that you're probably going to invest into that is time. And the thing that mitigates the risk the best is putting that time in and constantly going out and testing, constantly going out and seeing what the reception to your idea is. So you put in a little bit of time, you go out and see if it's working. You go out and see what kind of response you're getting. And then you adjust and you tweak and you move forward a little bit more, and then you go out and you get some more input and some more feedback. Then you go out again and you make some more tweaks and you make some more changes, and then you go out and see what kind of feedback you're getting. The way that you can make your business most likely to be successful and fruitful when you leave your job is to use that process of investing a little bit of time and money as well. There's nothing wrong with investing money. In fact, you should, as you can, but you don't need a lot if you are willing to go the alternative route of investing time. You have to be willing to invest one of the two. And frankly, the more that time versus money situation leans towards time, the more successful and the more solid foundation you'll build for your business, because you're in there, you got your sleeves up. You just can't like pay somebody to go create a business for you. I don't know, maybe you can, but it would be very, very expensive and it probably not the realistic way that you would go about creating a business. So when you invest that time in things like researching your marketplace, understanding the wants and needs of people in that marketplace, and really, really building those deep relationships with people who will then tell you what they want. If anybody listening here is in Kickstarter or our coaching programs or any of our How to Quit Working programs, you know that when you send me an email, 9 times out of 10, I personally respond. And one of the reasons that I do that, and one of the reasons that that's such a high priority for me and my business, is it helps me to get to know you. It helps me to get to know you when you send me your issues and your problems and your struggles and even your successes. I learn more about what kinds of things I need to create and how I can better create the things that are tailored to you, and what you need to successfully grow your business. So I am going through that process still, and I'll continue to go through that process as long as I'm running this business, because things are never going to stay the same. I mean, things change, if economy changes, mentalities change, mindsets change. Things will always be changing and evolving, and I have to always remain in touch with my customer so that I know how to create products and services and free content that will resonate with you and that will help you. So that's the exact process that you're going through in the early stages of your business. Well, I mean, you keep going through it all the time, but in the early stages of your business, when you're going through those processes of talking to people, understanding their wants and needs, understanding their buying patterns, their behavior, understanding what they want and what they don't want, you're building this amazing foundation to create a successful business. Because what you're doing is you're getting zeroed in and you're getting 100% connected to the most important aspect of your business, which is your customer. You're getting in touch with your customer, what your customer wants and what they need, what they'll pay for it, and how they want it delivered, what color they want it to be, what size they want it to be, how much they want it to be, what they want it to do, what they don't want it to do, and all of these things that are important in developing a product or service that people will indeed buy. And that's what's going to make your business successful or not successful. And the great news is, I hear from so many people that say, I don't have any money, which, this is probably another show, but you probably have more money available to you than you think you do on one hand. But on the other hand, you don't need a ton of money, and you're actually in a better position if you don't spend a ton of money in the beginning. I see people who spend lots of money manufacturing products that they have no idea if anybody is actually going to buy. And that just makes me cringe, because you've got to start slowly. And if you don't have a lot of money to invest and go out and spend, $50,000 or something having some product made or some prototype created, that's okay. And you're actually in a better situation because you're able to really dig down, roll up your sleeves, get into it, and figure out what exactly the market wants and needs, what they'll pay for, what they want, how they want it, and all that kind of good stuff. So to mitigate the risk, and I'm sorry I used the corporate word again, but to make the risk less, go out there, spend time getting to know your customer, spend time getting to know really, really deeply and intently what it is that they want, what they'll pay for, how they want it, and all that detail around it. So that needs to be your number one focus in the early stages of your business, is figuring out what they want, how they want it, figuring out everything you can possibly learn about that customer and what they want. And you can spend money to do that, and you should spend money to do that if that's an option, but you should be focusing more on spending time. It's going to build a great foundation. It's going to set you up for success, and it is going to make you much less likely to be one of those businesses that does not work out, because you're moving down a path where you are creating something that people are telling you that they want. You are moving in alignment with your customer. You're right there with them, moving forward step by step along with them, incorporating all of their feedback and creating something that they are going to be very, very interested in purchasing. Now, if you would like a simple process to go through that will let you figure out who your customer is and figure out how to open a conversation with them and how to figure out what they want, how much they'll pay for it, what color they want it to be, and all of that stuff, and you don't want to spend a ton of money, thousands or hundreds of dollars, on coaching or masterminds or big online $2,000 products, then Kickstart is for you. Go over to howtoquitworking.com/kickstart and get more information and join Kickstart. It is less than $100, and it is probably, in terms of what I've created in this business, there is no other product I have ever created that has packed this much value into a product or program at such a low price point. It is below $100, and it is hugely value packed. And what it really does is it shifts the way you think about business from being about how the masses think, which is not the way successful people think, and because nobody was ever taught this stuff, to being about how successful people think about business. It's huge. It'll create a huge mindset shift for you in business and life and all of the things that you're worried about, because I know you and I listen to you. All of those things are addressed in the Kickstart program, and I don't have time to go through all of them here, but go over to howtoquitworking.com/kickstart, get more information and enroll in the Kickstart program. And how about this? I'll come back in a couple of days and we'll do another How to Quit Working show. Look forward to seeing you then.
Thanks for joining us on the How to Quit Working show. Tune in next time when we'll talk to another amazing person just like you, who is now living the ultimate life of freedom and doing it on their terms. If you want to learn how to quit working and get these episodes delivered directly to you, visit howtoquitworkingshow.com.